I am Lamont at large. Today I am in sunny Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. Today I'm going to show you the location of where Michael Jackson was discovered unconscious at his Bel Air mansion. We're also going to go to the hospital where he was legally declared dead. And then I'm going to take you to the coroner's office where the autopsy was done. And finally, I'm going to take you to the final resting place of the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. So currently we are at 100 North Carrollwood Drive. We're here right off of Sunset Boulevard, which is right there. And this is the house where on June 25th, 2009, paramedics received a call right at around 12:20 p.m. of a male that lived here that was unresponsive, who was found by the man that was in his care, Dr. Conrad Murray, that man, of course, being Michael Jackson. Paramedics arrived here and seen that he was unconscious, unresponsive. He was taken to UCLA Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead at about an hour and 13 minutes after the paramedics here arrived. Now, at the time that he was living here, he was getting ready for his final This Is It tour, where he was supposed to perform at the O2 Arena, I believe, there in England. $100,000 a month Michael Jackson was paying to rent this mansion, which is a crazy, absurd amount. And I remember when I heard Michael Jackson died, I was washing dishes. I worked in Seattle and was listening to a radio program, and they said, you know, this just in, Michael Jackson died. And when he got to the hospital, TMZ was already there. And fans were already flocking to the hospital, waiting outside to hear any word on his condition. And they were the first ones to confirm his death. So we're going to go take a quick drive to the hospital, and I can show you where that all took place. Currently, we are at UCLA Medical Center, a very, very huge hospital system here. This is the emergency entrance to UCLA Medical Center, and this is where Michael Jackson was brought to. And as soon as he got to this hospital, they would have brought him in through these bays right here. You can see the ambulances ahead. One of the doctors that was treating Michael Jackson when he arrived said that his heart was not beating and he was not breathing. So during the trial, he gave testimony that he felt that Michael Jackson, when he arrived at this hospital, he was in fact already dead. And he believes that Michael Jackson was in fact dead, like legally dead, back at his mansion. And you had TMZ, you had a lot of people just standing around this very building, and somewhere up there they were desperately trying to somehow resuscitate Michael Jackson to no avail. And this is exactly where he technically died, even though they felt that he was already dead before he arrived over here. So we're gonna go take a trip. We're gonna go to downtown, a little bit east of downtown. We're gonna go to the coroner's office, and I'm gonna show you where they did Michael Jackson's autopsy and what they found in the report. Currently, we are at the Los Angeles County Coroner's office here. This is the biggest coroner's office and busiest in the nation. Any day, they do on an average of about 15 to 25 autopsies here. People that get murdered in the county of LA are brought here, suspicious deaths, so forth and so on. And many Hollywood celebrities, famous people have been brought here to be autopsied. And of course, on June 25th of 2009, Michael Jackson was one of the many famous people to be brought here to be autopsied, of course. So during the trial, which I'll get into a little bit later, the chief medical examiner noted during the autopsy some of his findings, the physical characteristics that he noticed about Michael Jackson. When they brought in his body, they measured and weighed him. So Michael Jackson measured at around 5 feet 9 inches tall, and he weighed about 136 pounds. Now, a lot of people said that he was in some form of an emaciated condition. However, the chief medical examining doctor who conducted the autopsy said that no, that's totally within normal range. He didn't notice anything about Michael Jackson in terms of him being in ill health. The only thing he noted in his report was that Michael Jackson, his lungs were chronically inflamed. But other than that, he said he had a very healthy heart. He was normal weight. He didn't really notice any kind of hardening of the arteries or nothing like that. Now, he did state in his report that Michael Jackson wore a wig, and he said when he removed the wig that he was practically bald. He had a tattoo on his eyebrows. He had tattooed on his lips. His lips were tattooed pink. He noticed that his shoulders, his hips, and his thighs were just covered in needle marks, just absolutely covered. The autopsy took, usually autopsies here, they usually take about 3 to 4 hours. I actually did a little bit of community service right here. So they do the autopsies over on the other side of this building right here. And it takes about 2 to 4 weeks for toxicology reports to come back. So basically, Michael Jackson died of propofol intoxication. Propofol, of course, is the stuff that they use to put you under during surgeries. And Conrad Murray was giving Michael Jackson propofol just to go to sleep. And also in the toxicology report, he had some lorazepam and mausoleum. Those are anti-anxiety medications. But other than that, Michael Jackson, was in pretty good health, minus the mental side of things, and of course the addictive nature of him constantly using propofol simply just to fall asleep. And also the chief medical examining officer, he indicated that Conrad Murray was the wrong doctor that Michael Jackson hired, because Conrad Murray was a cardiologist, and he felt that somebody that has a specialty in that had no business being employed by Michael Jackson. I don't want to get too close right there because I'm basically in an area where I shouldn't be, and I don't want them to see me. But if you could see that coroner's office van right there backing up, that's the exact spot where they brought Michael Jackson in to be autopsied. There's a gate right there on the other side of this brick wall, and the van comes in and they drop off all the bodies right there. And over this wall right here is where they do all the autopsies. I want to go over there and get closer, but they're going to kick me out. There is a lot of cameras here, and I'm surprised a police officer has not came over here to tell me to leave. But anyways, let's talk really quickly about the case of Conrad Murray. So eventually he ended up being charged with involuntary manslaughter, and he was brought up for trial. And the trial took place, of course, in downtown Los Angeles. He ended up was found guilty. However, because of the sentencing guidelines, he was only sentenced to 4 years in prison. And just because the prison system in Los Angeles is so overcrowded, he ended up just doing, I want to say, 26 months. So 2 years, 2 months. And I believe he got out in 2013. That's a lot of angst and emotion for Michael Jackson fans, and for a man that was responsible for his death. to only do 2 years in prison, just simply because, you know, you're following the law and those are the sentencing guidelines. Really quickly, I'm turning down Figueroa. That's the Staples Center. That's where the Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Los Angeles Kings, many concerts happen over there. And that is where they had the memorial for Michael Jackson. The Staples Center holds about 20,000 people or so. And let me tell you, there was not an empty seat or figuratively a dry eye in the house. And many celebrities went in there to pay their respects to, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, the greatest musical entertainer I've ever seen. I mean, I've watched hours of Michael Jackson concert footage on YouTube, and I would say that James Brown would be a close second, but you know, undeniably Michael Jackson, in my opinion, when it comes to musical acts and taking the stage, just a phenomenal entertainer, dancer, singer, all of that. And guess what he did that nobody very rarely ever does? And that's actually not lip sync. I seen him lip sync before later on in his career, but if you look back on concert footage of him from the 80s and the 90s, he'll dance and sing, and a lot of people don't do that anymore. So we're gonna head about, I want to say about 7 or 8 miles north of here. We're gonna go to Forest Lawn in Glendale, and we're gonna go visit the grave final resting place of Michael Jackson. And here we are at the Forest Lawn Cemetery here in Glendale, California. We're about 20 minutes or so away from Hollywood. And I asked one of the workers at the cemetery where Michael Jackson was interred in the mausoleum, and they said this was it. This is the Holy Terrace Cemetery right here. This is the area where people come to leave flowers and cards and well wishes for Michael Jackson. Since you can't go to exactly where he's interred just because it's locked and it's secured. You got some flowers over here. You got some fans here that came to see the area. You got flowers for Michael Jackson, cards, so forth and so on. Some flowers. Got a little setup right here. And yeah, so he said he's at the Holy Terrace Cemetery back there somewhere. You can't get inside. It's very well locked, secured. If you had a loved one that's here, you'd have to show some kind of paperwork proving that you belong in here. It's very well guarded. However, word on YouTube is if you want to see at least exactly where his sarcophagus is, then you would want to walk around the opposite side of this Holy Terrace Mausoleum. And I watched another YouTuber's video about this by the name of Scott on Tape. His video on this has over 1 million views. I cannot substantiate his claims as to exactly where Michael Jackson's final resting place is, but he was quite adamant in the video that that stained window right there, and if you look, you'll see kind of a white mark on the building. He said he is exactly where that white mark is, right here in this building. So if you want to come out here and visit Michael Jackson, you would look right out there. So credit to Scott on Tape for that. I'm going to say that it's a fact that he's in that room right there. And that's the video. I normally end the videos at the cemetery where I'm at. However, I simply forgot to do the ending. But anyways, now that I'm in my van, kind of in my sanctuary, if you will, leave a comment below and tell me what you think about Michael Jackson, good or bad. I'm curious to see what you guys think. I remember when Michael Jackson died, and even though you had the hearsay about him or whatever, you believe whatever you want to believe, this video is not for that, maybe for another day. However, when he died, I, for one, was beyond shocked because Michael Jackson was always there. I remember Michael Jackson from when I was 3 years old, watching him on a big screen television at the Broadway Beverly Center, where my mom went to go buy us a chair. And he has always been, in some form or fashion, a part of just everyday culture. And when he died, in my own opinion, that was the first celebrity death that really questioned my own mortality, because we are not immortal. We are all going to die someday, and it's a subject that is oftentimes very uncomfortable, particularly in our culture. And to not have somebody that I always have known to be alive, to be dead, it kind of just hits you like, wow, life is fleeting. Anyways, guys, God bless. Have a good morning, a good evening, wherever you are in this world. And I will see you, of course, on the next vlog. Peace out.